ठीक है। आज के सेशन में हम कुछ बेसिक टॉपिक्स कवर करने वाले हैं विद द बिगिनिंग की गोलैंग है क्या। सो गोलैंग इज़ केस सेंसिटिव, नॉट प्योरली ऑब्जेक्ट ओरिएंटेड लैंग्वेज लाइक जावा, बिकॉज जावा में हमारे पास क्लासेस होते हैं, इंटरफेसेस रहते हैं। गो में बाय डिफ़ॉल्ट क्लासेस नहीं है हमारे पास में, बट तरीके हैं ऑब्जेक्ट ओरिएंटेड बिहेवियर इम्प्लीमेंट करने का, जो हम आके कमिंग सेशंस में देखेंगे।
ओके।
एक इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ ये है कि गो हमारी केस सेंसिटिव लैंग्वेज है और इसमें इंडेंटेशन बहुत मैटर करती है। अगर आप इंडेंटेशन सही नहीं रखते हो अपने कोड का, तो ये कंपाइल नहीं होगा आपका कोड,
कंपाइल नहीं होगा। ओके।
कंपाइल नहीं होगा। अभी मैंने जो सॉफ्टवेयर
ओके।
यूज़ कर रखा है कोडिंग के लिए, मैं वी एस कोड में हूँ और मैंने यहाँ पे गो फॉर्मेटर ऑलरेडी अप्लाई कर रखा है। बट अगर मैंने इसे
ओके।
एक टेक्स्ट फाइल में इस कोड को मैं लिख रहा होता और मैं इसे कंपाइल करने की कोशिश करता, तो ये इंडेंटेशन के प्रॉब्लम्स देता और कंपाइल भी नहीं होता।
अच्छा। ओके।
तो गो केस सेंसिटिव है, इंडेंटेशन बहुत ज़रूरी है, प्योरली ऑब्जेक्ट ओरिएंटेड लेकिन नहीं है।
ओके।
ठीक है। जो फर्स्ट चीज़ हम बात करेंगे वो बेसिक से सिर्फ हम स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं वापस से, कि वेरिएबल्स, पैकेजेस, मॉड्यूल्स क्या होते हैं गोलैंग में। ठीक है। आप जब भी गो का कोड एक लिखते हो, तो आपको गो का जो फाइल आप लिखते हो उसका एक्सटेंशन होता है डॉट गो। ठीक है।
ओके।
एक सिंगल गो फाइल की अगर बात हम करते हैं, तो एक गो फाइल के अंदर जो सबसे पहली स्टेटमेंट होती है वो हमेशा पैकेज स्टेटमेंट होती है। मेन, सॉरी।
ईशान,
हाँ हाँ
सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट
हाँ
यू
हाँ हाँ, यस यस।
हियर। स्टार्टिंग से एक बार बता दीजिए मुझे, मतलब इसको प्रोजेक्ट स्टार्ट कैसा करते हो,
प्रोजेक्ट स्टार्ट
प्रोजेक्ट गो।
कैसे करते हैं,
हाँ।
मैं एक काम करते हैं, अभी पहले मैं कवर कर देता हूँ चीज़ें जो करनी है, फिर
हाँ,
आपके
कवर कर,
मशीन
हाँ
पे
हाँ।
हम लोग एक प्रोजेक्ट बना लेंगे अपना।
ठीक ठीक।
आपके मशीन पे गोलैंग इंस्टॉल्ड है?
हाँ, मेरे पास है।
ठीक है, तो हम एक प्रोजेक्ट आपके मशीन पे छोटा सा एक कोड लिख लेंगे फिर सेशन के एंड में, बिल्कुल।
ठीक।
ठीक है।
ठीक है।
ठीक है। तो अगर आप किसी गो के कोड की बात करते हो, जो पहली स्टेटमेंट उस गो के कोड में आपको हमेशा दिखेगी वो होगी आपकी पैकेज स्टेटमेंट। पैकेज कुछ भी
ओके।
नहीं है, इट इज़ अ लॉजिकल वे टू ऑर्गेनाइज एंड स्ट्रक्चर योर कोड। तो देखिए, ऐसा है, आप अगर, ऐसा कोई रिस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं है कि आपको अपना कोड एक फाइल में लिखना है या मल्टीपल फाइल में लिखना है या मल्टीपल पैकेजेस में, ऐसा कोई रिस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं है। आप चाहो अपना सारा का सारा एप्लीकेशन का कोड एक सिंगल फाइल में भी लिखोगे तो भी चलेगा काम। लेकिन कभी
ओके।
कभी क्या होता है, कभी क्या, मोस्टली ऐसे ही होता है, हमारे एंटरप्राइज एप्लीकेशन जब हम बात करते हैं तो वो इतने बड़े हो जाते हैं, अगर आप उसे एक फाइल में या एक पैकेज में भी रखते हो या एक फोल्डर में भी रखते हो सारा कोड, तो भी उसे मैनेज करना बहुत डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है। करेक्ट। तो
राइट।
पैकेज एक बस वे है आपके कोड को प्रॉपरली स्ट्रक्चर करने के लिए। अब ऐसा सोच लीजिए, मान लीजिए आप एक एप्लीकेशन बना रहे हो जो आपका एक साइंटिफिक कैलकुलेटर है, मान लीजिए, जिसमें आपके पास ट्रिग्नोमेट्रिक फंक्शंस हैं, सिंपल एडिशन सब्ट्रैक्शन के फंक्शंस हैं, और मे बी कंपाउंडिंग के फंक्शंस हैं। तो अब तीन चार फंक्शनैलिटी, ऑल्दो सारे के सारे साइंटिफिक कैलकुलेशन से रिलेटेड हैं, लेकिन ट्रिग्नोमेट्रिक फंक्शंस अलग काम करने वाले हैं, एडिशन सब्ट्रैक्शन के फंक्शंस अलग तरीके से काम करने वाले हैं, कंपाउंडिंग के फंक्शंस अलग। तो बेटर अप्रोच यही रहती है कि हम अपने कोड को जितना सेपरेटेड आउट डिफरेंट फोल्डर्स में, डिफरेंट पैकेजेस में रख लें, उतना ज़्यादा ऑर्गेनाइज करना कोड को ईजी हो जाता है, मैनेज करना ईजी हो जाता है।
राइट।
ठीक है। कोई भी कोड जो सेम पैकेज के अंदर है गोलैंग में, आप उसे एक एंटिटी की तरह ट्रीट कर सकते हो। अभी यहाँ पे हमने पैकेज जो यूज़ किया है, वो पैकेज का नाम हमने मेन दिया है, करेक्ट।
राइट।
और इस फाइल के कोड को हम लोग देख रहे हैं, इसी के सिबलिंग में या इसी सेम फोल्डर में एक और फाइल है, विच इज़ दिस वन, अनदर फाइल इन पैकेज मेन। इसका फाइल का नाम ये है, बट इसका पैकेज डिक्लेरेशन अगर आप देखोगे तो ये भी मेन पैकेज में ही है,
राइट।
राइट। और यहाँ पे हमने एक वेरिएबल क्रिएट किया है विच इज़ कॉल्ड वेरिएबल डिक्लेयर्ड इन सेम पैकेज। ये इस वेरिएबल का नाम है।
ओके।
मेरे पास दो दो फाइल्स हैं यहाँ पे, एक है मेरी मेन डॉट गो, एक है अनदर फाइल इन पैकेज मेन डॉट गो। दोनों का जो पैकेज नेम है वो सेम है, और दोनों मेरे सेम फोल्डर में भी हैं, ऑफ कोर्स।
राइट।
ठीक है। अभी जो वेरिएबल मैंने यहाँ पे क्रिएट किया है, अगर मैं चाहूँ तो मैं इसे अपनी मेन डॉट गो से रेफर कर सकता हूँ। अगर मैं यहाँ पे इसे प्रिंट करने की कोशिश करता हूँ, वैल्यू ऑफ वेरिएबल डिक्लेयर्ड इन अनदर फाइल बट सेम पैकेज इज, ये देखिए मैंने यहाँ पे ऐसे एक वेरिएबल को यूज़ किया है जो दूसरे फाइल में है बट सेम पैकेज में है। ठीक है, तो जो भी मेरा कोड सेम पैकेज के अंदर आता है, वो आप ऐसे सोच सकते हो कि एक एंटिटी है जो सेम पैकेज में है, मैं उसे ज़रूर रेफर कर ही सकता हूँ। अब अगर आप
ओके।
इसको कंपेयर करते हो कि अगर आपका कोई कोड या कोई वेरिएबल जो दूसरे पैकेज में है, क्या आप वो भी एक्सेस कर सकते हो कि नहीं कर सकते हो, वो एक सेपरेट केस है। उसे हम नेक्स्ट जो अपना प्रोग्राम देखेंगे या कोड देखेंगे उसमें हम इस चीज़ को डिस्कस करेंगे फिर से। बट
ओके।
आप सेम पैकेज में जो है आप उसे बिना किसी रिस्ट्रिक्शन, बिना किसी रूल्स के एक्सेस कर सकते हो। ठीक है, यहाँ पे मेन डॉट गो हमने एक फाइल बनाया था, यहाँ पे पैकेज हमारा मेन था। सेम फोल्डर के अंदर, सेम पैकेज के अंदर हमने एक और फाइल रख रखा है विच इज़ अनदर फाइल इन पैकेज मेन डॉट गो। इसका भी पैकेज नेम सेम है। यहाँ पे जो वेरिएबल मैं बना रहा हूँ, इस वेरिएबल को मैं इस फाइल के अंदर भी एक्सेस कर रहा हूँ। अगर मैं
राइट।
इस कोड को एग्जीक्यूट करता हूँ, अभी मैं बताऊंगा कि रन कैसे करना है, क्या सब जो भी मैं आपको वापस से अभी बताने वाला हूँ। अभी आप इसे कैसे रन करना है, क्यों करना है, वो सब मैं वापस आऊँगा। अभी के लिए सिर्फ और सिर्फ आप ये देख लीजिएगा कि हम इसे रन कैसे कर रहे हैं।
ओके।
ठीक है, मैं एक बार वापस जा रहा हूँ इसी कोड के ऊपर। जो सेम पैकेज के अंदर हमने रखा है, दैट इज़ ऑल वन सिंगल एंटिटी। उसे आप ऐसा सोच सकते हो कि एक सिंगल ब्लॉक ऑफ कोड है। ठीक है, अभी अगर मैं आगे जाता हूँ, हाँ, जो सेकेंड स्टेटमेंट आपको एक पैकेज या एक गो फाइल के अंदर दिखती है वो होती है आपकी इम्पोर्ट स्टेटमेंट।
राइट।
ठीक है, इम्पोर्ट स्टेटमेंट का यूज़ आप करते हो। अब जैसे क्या होता है कि अभी हम बोल रहे हैं कि सारा हमने अपना गो का कोड जो है वो पैकेजेस के फॉर्म में ऑर्गेनाइज कर रखा है। और इसको कर देने से एक बेनिफिट और भी मिलता है कि जहाँ पे भी आपको मान लीजिए किसी पीस ऑफ डिफाइंड कोड को रीयूज़ करना है तो आप उसे रीयूज़ भी कर पाओगे फिर।
राइट।
तो इम्पोर्ट स्टेटमेंट से आप यही रीयूजेबल कोड जो ऑलरेडी किसी ने डिफाइन कर रखा है, इम्पोर्ट स्टेटमेंट से आप उस कोड को रेफर कर सकते हो। अब यहाँ पे मैंने जो इम्पोर्ट दिया है, दिस इज फॉर द एफ एम टी लाइब्रेरी या फिर एफ एम टी पैकेज। ठीक है, एफ एम टी एक ऐसा पैकेज है जो गोलैंग के एस डी के का पार्ट है। इसे अलग से किसी ने, मतलब किसी को डाउनलोड नहीं करना पड़ता है, कुछ नहीं। जब भी आप गोलैंग को इंस्टॉल करते हो अपने मशीन पे, तो बाय डिफॉल्ट यू गेट द एफ एम टी पैकेज एज पार्ट ऑफ द एस डी के इंस्टॉलेशन इटसेल्फ। एस डी के कुछ नहीं है, इट इज़ द टूल्स दैट आर नीडेड टू रन अ गो प्रोग्राम। चाहे वो कंपाइलर हो, चाहे वो कुछ ऑलरेडी डिफाइंड पैकेजेस हो जो कि जिसने गो का कंपाइलर लिखा है उसी ने लिख के दिए हैं हमें ये। तो ये वो पैकेजेस हैं, प्रिमिटिव पैकेजेस, जो बाय डिफॉल्ट एसडीके के पार्ट में ही हमारे पास आ जाते हैं। एफ एम
बेसिकली
टी,
दिस इज स्टैंडर्ड काइंड ऑफ
करेक्ट
लाइब्रेरीज।
करेक्ट 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 एफ एम टी एक ऐसा पैकेज है जो स्पेशल पैकेज है विच इज़ मेंट फॉर फॉर्मेटेड इनपुट आउटपुट। अगर आपको कुछ प्रिंट करना है कंसोल पे तो आप एफ एम टी पैकेज का यूज़ कर सकते हो। अगर आपको कुछ रीड करना है यूज़र से तो भी आप एफ एम टी पैकेज का यूज़ कर सकते हो।
ओके।
ठीक है, एक स्टेप मैं वापस ले रहा हूँ, वापस से पैकेजेस पे। यहाँ पे पैकेज का नाम आप कुछ भी दो चलेगा, कोई रिस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं है कि पैकेज का नाम आपको मेन ही देना है। बट मेन जहाँ पे आपने पैकेज का नाम दिया, दिस इज अ स्पेशल पैकेज। आपके प्रोग्राम का एग्जीक्यूशन हमेशा पैकेज मेन से स्टार्ट होता है। ठीक है, जैसे मेन आपका एक स्पेशल फंक्शन होता है जहाँ से आपका कोड का एग्जीक्यूशन स्टार्ट होता है। मेन पैकेज आपका एक ऐसा है, जब कंपाइलर आप एग्जीक्यूट, जब अपने प्रोग्राम को कंपाइल करने की कोशिश करते हो तो सबसे पहली फाइल जो पढ़ी जाती है वो आपकी मेन पैकेज की फाइल पढ़ी जाती है। ठीक है, यहाँ पे ऑल्दो मैं और पैकेजेस भी बना सकता हूँ अपने सिंगल एक प्रोग्राम के अंदर, मैं और पैकेजेस भी बना सकता हूँ, और वहाँ पे मैं मल्टीपल पैकेज, मैं अभी एक प्रोग्राम आपको आगे दिखाऊंगा जिसमें ऐसा हमने कर रखा है। ठीक है। मेन आपका एक ऐसा पैकेज है जहाँ से आपके प्रोग्राम की एग्जीक्यूशन स्टार्ट होती है। आपको मेरा ऑडियो क्लियर आ रहा है ना?
हाँ, क्या हो रहा है?
आपको मेरा ऑडियो क्लियर है ना?
हाँ हाँ,
ठीक
थोड़ा
है।
वॉइस लैगिंग इश्यूज हो रहे हैं, इट्स ओके, नो प्रॉब्लम।
ओके। तो हम लोग ये बोल रहे थे कि पैकेज
मैं ऐसा
मेन।
करता हूँ, मैं मेरा माइक्रोफोन बंद करता हूँ, मैं मेरा माइक, सो
ठीक है,
दैट
आप जहाँ पे भी आपको कोई डाउट हो तो फिर आप मुझे पॉज कर रोक दीजिएगा।
हाँ, मैं अगर कुछ डाउट है तो मैं, हाँ।
ठीक है। तो हम लोग बात कर रहे थे पैकेजेस के बारे में। पैकेज मेन एक ऐसा स्पेशल पैकेज है, आपके एक सिंगल गो एप्लीकेशन के अंदर मल्टीपल पैकेजेस का डेफिनेशन आप दे सकते हो। पैकेज मेन एक ऐसा स्पेशल पैकेज है जहाँ से आप जब अपने कोड को कंपाइल करना या रन करना शुरू करते हो तो सबसे पहला पैकेज जो कंपाइलर रीड करता है या इंटरप्रेट करने की कोशिश करता है, दिस इज पैकेज मेन वेयर योर प्रोग्राम कंपाइलेशन और एग्जीक्यूशन बिगिंस। तो पैकेज हमने बात की कि पैकेज इज अ वे टू ऑर्गेनाइज योर कोड और योर एप्लीकेशन इनटू मे बी रीयूजेबल कंपोनेंट्स, या फिर इट इज जस्ट अ वे टू बेटर ऑर्गेनाइज योर कोड. Also, main package is a special package where your program execution begins. The second statement in a Go code, in a Go file that you would see is the import statement. So whenever there is a need for your Go application to use any existing functionality that is already defined by someone, it could be a third party package also, or it could be a library, or it could be a package which is there in the SDK itself. इस एग्जाम्पल की अगर मैं बात करता हूँ तो यहाँ पे हमने इंपोर्ट किया है FMT पैकेज को. ये एक ऐसा पैकेज है, एक स्पेशल पैकेज है जो कि आपको अलग से डाउनलोड नहीं करना पड़ता है इंटरनेट से या कहीं और से. यू गेट इट एज पार्ट ऑफ द SDK इटसेल्फ. FMT पैकेज का यूज़ हम लोग करते हैं फॉर्मेटेड इनपुट आउटपुट. इसका नाम ही FMT ऐसे पड़ा है, फॉर्मेटेड इनपुट आउटपुट. तो अगर आपको यूज़र से कुछ इनपुट लेना है तो भी आप FMT पैकेज का यूज़ कर सकते हो. अगर आपको कुछ आउटपुट प्रिंट करना है तो भी आप FMT पैकेज का यूज़ कर सकते हो. ठीक है. अभी मैं बात करता हूँ फंक्शंस की. अगर आप कुछ बोलना चाह रहे हो?
हाँ हाँ, go ahead, go ahead.
हाँ हाँ. ओके. अभी अगर मैं बात करता हूँ फंक्शंस की, तो गोलैंग के अंदर मैंने अभी आपको बताया कि अनलाइक जावा यहाँ पे क्लासेस का कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं है, तो आपको कोई क्लास डेफिनेशंस कभी किसी गो फाइल के अंदर नहीं दिखेंगे. आपको सीधा सीधा फंक्शन डेफिनेशंस या फिर एक कॉन्सेप्ट होता है मेथड्स का, जो हम अभी नेक्स्ट सेशंस में मे बी देखेंगे. लेकिन क्लासेस गोलैंग में नहीं है. आपको डायरेक्टली फंक्शंस डिफाइंड दिखेंगे जो कि डायरेक्टली आपके गो फाइल के रूट में डिफाइंड रहेंगे. एक फंक्शन को आपको जब डिफाइन करना है, डिक्लेयर करना है गोलैंग के अंदर, तो आप यूज़ करते हो फंक कीवर्ड का. उसके बाद आप देते हो फंक्शन का नाम फॉलोड बाय द राउंड ब्रैकेट्स एंड देन द कर्ली ब्रैकेट्स. कर्ली ब्रैकेट्स के अंदर फंक्शन की बॉडी आप दे सकते हो. यहाँ पे हमने जो फंक्शन का नाम दिया है इट इज़ कॉल्ड मेन, और यहाँ पे हमने कोई आर्ग्यूमेंट्स नहीं दिए हैं because main is a special function. So just like package main is a special package where the program compilation or execution starts, main is a special function which has to have this syntax only. It cannot take, if, I mean if you add any, maybe an integer argument or a string argument here, this will not be treated as the special main method which the Go compiler looks for. सो ये पर्टिकुलर सिंटेक्स जो हम, या ये पर्टिकुलर सिग्नेचर मेन मेथड का जो हम देख रहे हैं जिसमें कोई आर्ग्यूमेंट नहीं है और सीधा हमने कर्ली ब्रेसेस देके फंक्शन बॉडी दिया है, दिस मेन सिग्नेचर और दिस मेन मेथड इज अ स्पेशल मेथड वेयर योर प्रोग्राम एग्जीक्यूशन बिगिंस. This can happen that your Go application, let's say, maybe has another function as well, another func, and let's say this takes an integer argument from another func. Yeah, so here we have created a function using the func keyword as I told you. इस फंक्शन का नाम हमने जो दिया है, दिस इज कॉल्ड अनदर फंक्शन. दिस इज taking an integer argument as input, and the variable name for the argument that it takes is, we have given it the name as a. Inside the function body, what we have done is we have used the fmt package or the fmt library, which I told you is for the formatted input output. Because आपने इसको already import कर लिया है, you are able to now use the fmt package wherever you want to. अगर आपको इस लाइब्रेरी का कोई फंक्शन या कोई वेरिएबल जो इस पैकेज के अंदर डिफाइन आपने कर रखा है उसे आपको यूज़ करना है, तो आप प्रीफिक्स करते हो फंक्शन नेम जो इस पैकेज के अंदर डिफाइंड है विद द पैकेज नेम. तो एफ पैकेज के अगर मैं println के ऊपर कंट्रोल क्लिक करता हूँ एंड आई गो टू द डेफिनेशन फॉर द println फंक्शन, if I navigate you to the top of this file, see the package declaration here is package fmt, which means that my println is a function which is defined, one second, println, yeah, so my println is a function which of course prints to the standard console or the standard input output console, and it is defined in the fmt package, which is of course there in the SDK itself. We have not created, this is a package that we have not created, we are using it directly from the SDK or the Go installation. So since println is a function which is defined in the fmt package or the fmt library, we are importing the fmt library first, and then wherever I have to use the println function from the fmt library, I prefix the function which is println with the fmt package or the fmt library name, which is followed by the dot operator, and then you give the function name or the variable name that you want to access. In order to print the value of variable a, what we are doing is we are just printing a string text first, followed by a comma, and then the variable value. I could get rid of this as well, and this will simply print the variable name now.
ओके.
Any questions?
मान लो कि हाँ, या मान लो कि जैसे आप कैलकुलेटर का एग्जांपल दे रहे थे ना कि
हाँ हाँ
जैसे सब्सट्रैक्शन करना है मुझे,
हाँ हाँ
तो सब्सट्रैक्शन का मतलब एक पैकेज बनाऊंगा सब बोल के.
हाँ हाँ
ठीक है.
हाँ हाँ,
हाँ, उसके रिलेटेड अगर कुछ फंक्शंस कॉल करना है मुझे तो इंपोर्ट सब बोल के यहाँ पे देना पड़ेगा मुझे, और नीचे
बिल्कुल
सब डॉट टू बी
बिल्कुल
फंक्शन है उसका.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. अभी जो
ओके.
सेकंड प्रोग्राम मैं आपको दिखाऊंगा, मैंने यहाँ पे यही पैकेजेस का कॉन्सेप्ट इम्प्लीमेंट किया है, और मैं आपको उस एग्जांपल में ये चीज़ कवर करने वाला हूँ.
ओके.
अगर पैकेजेस में आपको थोड़ा बहुत भी अभी भी कोई छोटा मोटा कंसर्न है, तो वो हमारा सेकंड प्रोग्राम के बाद में आपका रिजॉल्व हो जाएगा.
क्लियर हो
अगर फिर भी
गया.
रहता है तो हम वापस आ जाएंगे इस कॉन्सेप्ट पे एक बार.
ओके.
ठीक है. अभी के लिए आप ये सोच सकते हो प्रिंट एक फंक्शन है जो सेम फाइल में ऑफ कोर्स नहीं है. हम लोग इसे यूज़ कर रहे हैं एफ पैकेज के अंदर, क्योंकि ये एफ पैकेज में डिफाइंड है. इसीलिए मुझे इस फंक्शन को यूज़ करने के लिए पहले एफ लाइब्रेरी को इम्पोर्ट करना पड़ा, और जहाँ भी मुझे यूज़ करना है, अब मैं पैकेज के नाम से प्रीफिक्स कर रहा हूँ पहले, उसके बाद ही यूज़ कर रहा हूँ. नहीं तो अगर मान लीजिए मैं ये निकाल देता हूँ यहाँ से, तो ये क्या कर रहा है, प्रिंट अगर कंपाइलर इसे कंपाइल करने जाता है तो प्रिंट वो एक ऐसा फंक्शन ढूंढेगा जो इसी सेम फाइल में डिफाइंड होना चाहिए.
ओके.
मैंने अभी आपको बताया था कि जो भी चीज़ आप एक सिंगल पैकेज के अंदर रखते हो, दैट बिकम्स वन सिंगल एंटिटी. इफ यू आर नॉट प्रिफिक्सिंग द एंटिटी विद अ पैकेज declaration, it tries to look for the entity in the same package. Yes. तो अभी अगर हमने इसे चेंज किया है, यहाँ पे हमने प्रीफिक्स हटा दिया है, तो इट इज लुकिंग फॉर अ println फंक्शन विच इज डिफाइंड इन द सेम पैकेज इटसेल्फ. यस, गुड सो फार. आगे बढ़े.
हाँ भैया, ठीक है.
ओके. मैं इसे निकाल देता हूँ, एंड लेट मी रिवर्ट द चेंज दैट वी डिड. ओके. तो अभी हम बात कर रहे थे मेन एक ऐसा स्पेशल फंक्शन है जहाँ से मेरे प्रोग्राम की एग्जीक्यूशन स्टार्ट होती है. फंक्शन को डिक्लेयर या डिफाइन करने के लिए हम यूज़ करते हैं फंक कीवर्ड फॉलोड बाय द फंक्शन नेम एंड राउंड ब्रैकेट्स. राउंड ब्रैकेट्स के अंदर आप स्पेसिफाई करते हो कि क्या आर्ग्यूमेंट्स आपका फंक्शन लेने वाला है. बट सिंस मेन इज़ अ स्पेशल फंक्शन, which has to follow this particular syntax so that compiler can detect कि कौन सा first function है जो उसे main package के अंदर से execute करना है. इसीलिए I cannot add an argument here. अगर मैं यहाँ पे add कर भी देता हूँ तो it will start complaining there is no main method defined in my main package. See, it is giving me an error here which says function main must have no arguments and no return values, because it is expecting the main method uh, to follow the syntax which the SDK or the compiler expects कि कोई इसमें argument ना हो और ना ही कोई ये value return करे. अगर किसी function को कोई value किसी type का return करना है, so in the function signature we can specify the return type as well. So now this function that we defined here, which is called another function taking an integer argument as input, returns an integer value as output. Now if I take my cursor over line number 15, this is missing return. So what happens is the moment I add an int here after the round brackets, as I said, this is what this function should return, and currently we are not returning the integer value from this function. So the moment I put a return here, let's say maybe I hardcode the return value, the error that we were getting here is no longer there. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So going back to the main function, यहाँ पे कोई return expected नहीं है, कोई arguments expected नहीं है. This is what the Go compiler expects the main method syntax to be like. Okay. हम लोगों ने पैकेज की बात कर ली है, हम लोगों ने इंपोर्ट की बात कर ली है, हम लोगों ने ये देख लिया है कि फंक्शन डिक्लेयर डिफाइन कैसे करा जाता है. अभी हम मूव कर रहे हैं वेरिएबल्स पे. गोलैंग के अंदर वेरिएबल्स क्रिएट करने के लिए वी हैव द var कीवर्ड. The var keyword is followed by the variable name and then its data type. So here I am creating a variable which is called name using the var keyword, and the data type of this variable is string, which means that this variable will take a string type of a value. So if I try to do like this is totally fine. This will not give me an error. But if I try to assign an integer value to my string type variable, this will start complaining that the variable is an integer type. Yes, by default if I do not give any value here, so I'm not assigning any value here to the name variable. Of course I could have done it by using the equal to syntax and giving the string value, but by default if I do not give a string variable a value, by default it gets a blank string as the value. Yes.
So what will be the value of the name? Will it be null or empty double quotes?
Null is different and a blank string is different. So right now,
Okay.
I just added double quotes here to indicate the blank value which is inside double quotes. So null is different and a blank string is different. If I try to print the value of, one second, the value of name variable is name, and one second, the length of value of name variable. So len is a special function in Golang which you can use to calculate the length of a string or an array. Of course we will look at this function in a great detail in the upcoming sessions, but since you asked a question about it, I'm just running this code to show you what the value is. So if you see here, it just prints a blank string, which means that there are no characters inside the string. Also, if we check the length of the string variable that we created, it is 0. If I initialize it maybe with a value, let's say Ishan, yeah, so here we have 5 characters now, and if I run it, yeah, so it prints the string Ishan, and it says that the string or the input has 5 characters.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Moving to the second way of creating variables. So this is one way using the var syntax, where you give the var keyword followed by the variable name, then the data type, and then of course an optional initialization value for the variable. There's no mandate that you give it always. This is the second way, or the shorthand way of creating variables in Golang. So you give the variable name followed by the colon equal to operator. So this is a different operator than what we used here. This was just equal to at line 22. This is colon equal to. So this is a shorthand way of creating variables here, but the only problem is if you declare variables using this particular syntax, you always have to give it an initialization value. And if you notice, there is no var keyword, there is no data type here. So this shorthand variable declaration way, in this particular way, what the compiler does is it infers the type of the variable. The value that we are assigning here, this is an integer value. This is a number 1 that we are assigned to the age variable that we are creating. And if I take my cursor over the age variable, it says var age int. So the data type it inferred is an integer. Let us say I change this to a string. All that I've done is I've just put the value inside double quotes, and if I take my cursor here now, it says age is a string. Yes. So when you use the colon equal to syntax, there is a type inference that is happening, and the compiler then determines the value or the type of the variable based on the value that you assign at the time of declaration. Yes. Just like we created a string variable, just like we created an integer variable, there is a way to create boolean variable. Bool is one of the supported data types in Golang, which takes either false or true as an input value. If you try to assign anything else to it, bool only supports true and false as the two values.
So Ishan here, in both the cases, like shorthand type and the other type is declaring variable var and the type.
Mhm.
So in both the cases, it will take same number of bytes, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Only
The
thing is,
memory implementation is still the same. I mean, even if you look at this implementation here, the help
Mhm.
that we are seeing, it's exactly same as line number 22. Yeah,
Okay,
of course, the data type is
okay.
different, right? The here we have a data type which is string, but if we compare it with a integer variable created using probably the syntax that we are using at 22, it's all same in memory. There is no memory wise differentiation that is happening. This is just to ease out the programmer's life. I mean, you could use this syntax, you could use this syntax also.
Like sometime like we don't know the what is the result of some particular thing. Let's say whether it's a float or boolean or string.
Uh-huh,
So in
uh-huh.
that case, we can use this kind
Correct,
of
correct,
shorthand.
correct, 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 correct. Yes. Okay. So coming back to this one here, we talked about the bool type that is there in Golang. There is a float type as well, which is available, which takes in the floating point numbers as input. We've already talked about the println function, which is defined in the FMT library, the FMT package. We've already imported it in our code at the top. In order to use the println function from the FMT package, I prefix the function with the package name. So this indicates to the compiler that we are trying to use the println function from the FMT library. If I get rid of it, if I do not add the FMT prefix, now the compiler would expect that I create a println function which is defined in the same package as my package that I'm currently inside. Yes. Okay. Uh, the println function takes variable number of arguments as input. So whatever number of arguments that you pass to it, it simply prints them in the same order. I can pass here multiple arguments. So what we have done here is we have just printed two. We have just passed two arguments. The first is a hard-coded string here. So line number 34, we are trying to print the value of the name variable which we defined here at line number 22. uh, so this println execution just prints a hard-coded string which is the name is equal to, and then we are printing the variable value here itself. Same for the age variable. When we try to print the age variable, we are just printing a hard-coded string which says the age is this. Same for the boolean type variable, and same for the floating point number. Let me now run the code. So now maybe I would want to discuss about how we run the code. So there are two ways of executing. So once the code has been written, there are two ways of running a Go program. The shortcut is to do go run and followed by the file name that you want to start the execution for. Of course, the file name that you give here to the run, this has to have a package as main, then only it makes sense to put the file name here. If this is the package only becomes executable if it is or the file only becomes executable if this is in the package main and it has a main function also defined. If the file that you are trying to give here in go run command, if you give it a file which is not in the package main, it won't error out of course, but since there is no main package in that file that you are trying to run and there's no main function inside it, it really won't produce any output. Yes, so there the first way of running a Golang code is to use the go run command, which is followed by the file name.
One thing, Ishan, like let's say for example, I have multiple packages,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
subtraction and addition. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
two packages I have.
Mm-hmm.
In both the packages, I have main. Is it possible?
It is not possible. There can be only one main package in your
One
whole
main,
application, yes, and that is where the application execution will begin. And main
the
is
entry
a
point.
package
Yeah.
where you would refer your other packages from.
Okay. For let's say, for example, I want to see the functionality, how the addition is happening
Uh-huh.
separately. So in that case, like can I have a main function in
Uh,
addition package or like
no,
that?
no, no, no. You will have to
No.
call those functions in your main package to see if those are working correctly or not. This is one way. And the second way is so whatever, so whenever you write some Golang code, what happens is you write test files also for it. You don't leave the package or you don't leave the Go code as is. Always when you write the Go code, you will write test files also for it. The test file is meant for this purpose only, that standalone the code you can test it whether it is working fine or not. Yes, so for every Go file that we write, be it in any package, we will always have a test file that is created, and it's always in the same package as the code that you are trying to test. The purpose of the test file is to test the code standalone. I mean, there is no need for the function that you are writing, or there's no need for the sub package that you have written to to import it into a main file first and then run it. You can use test functionality which is there in Golang in order to test your standalone pieces or standalone packages. We'll discuss about the testing framework also in the upcoming session.
Okay.
I don't want to bombard you with
You mean
everything.
unit testing, right?
Sorry.
You mean to say unit testing,
Unit
right?
testing, exactly, yes, unit testing.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you mean to say like no matter how many packages we have in our application,
Mm-hmm.
but the entry point will be like single entry point, that is main.
Correct, yes.
Should be only one. Okay.
Correct, yes, yes. Okay, so we have seen the code till this point, till line number 37, and the first way of running the Go code I told you is you use the go run command followed by the file name. So if you notice here, we assigned the variable name a value equal to Ishan, and it prints the value what we assigned. Then we are printing the one second. Yeah, so we are printing the length of the name variable. So this, since this string has 5 characters here, the length function that we executed on the string variable, it is printing the length as 5. We have a redundant print statement here which is printing the name variable again. Then we have a print statement for the age. Then we have a print statement for is senior citizen, which is a boolean variable. Then we have the salary variable getting printed here. Yes, so far good.
Yes.
Okay. Now moving to line number 40, I in the beginning I told you FMT is a package which is a special package meant for input as well as output. So fmt.scanf is a function which you can use to take in the user input. So what I am doing here is I am trying to read a value which will be provided by my user into a string variable. Scanf function takes the format string as the first value. So what we are doing here is, since we are reading value into a string variable, the format string that it expects is percentage %s. Had it been an integer variable, the format string would have been percentage %d. So there are multiple format string patterns that are available in Golang. You use the percentage %s for string, you use the percentage %d for an integer,
D for integer,
yeah, you use
F for
percentage %f
float.
for float. Yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, this is pretty much same as C language. Yeah, C.
Yes, 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 you are absolutely right. There is just one important thing that I would like to draw your attention towards. So, scanf is a blocking function call. So, the moment your compiler executes the code and it hits a scanf, scanf, as I said, is meant for taking a user input. So, if you notice here, let me rerun the code. If I run the code again, my prompt or my cursor is waiting to provide, waiting for the user to provide an input value. So what we are doing here is, using the scanf function from the fmt library, we are trying to read a string value into the string type variable which we created earlier, and then at line number 45 we are trying to print the value that we are just reading from the user as an input at line number 40. Let me just type in the value here: input value provided by the user. So it prints input value provided by the user, which was the input that I gave. It printed at line number 45. And since there are no more code, there is no more code that is left after line number 45 in the main function. We are not calling any other package, or we are not referring to any other pieces of code. The main function is ending here. My program terminates after the last line is hit. Yes, we spoke about two ways of executing a Go program. So Go run main.go is one way of executing your Go code. The other way is to explicitly do a Go build main.go. So what a Go build main.go does is it basically compiles your code and creates an executable binary for your code. Go run main.go is a shortcut of doing a build and executing. They are both clubbed into one single action, which is go run main.go, or go run is one single command which does the compilation as well as the execution. Whereas if you do a go build, you have to manually execute the code.
So in Go run main.go, whether it's going to create exe, it will create exe and then run, or how?
I will not maybe call it an exe, because the artifact which Go build produces, it depends on the OS that you are working on. If
Oh
you are
yes,
on a
okay.
Linux, maybe it will just produce a executable binary. But if you are on Windows, because the Windows executable files end in a .exe extension. So
Yes.
if you compile on a Windows, then you would get a file which is in .exe extension. Yes,
Okay.
Go run main.go. It, as I said, it is a combination of a Go build and a Go run together. I mean, it's clubbed into one single command. This does produce an intermediate binary or an intermediate executable, but it is a hidden file. We don't get access to it.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Yes, so there are two
So
ways.
no matter like what type of processor you have, like it will be the binary will be executed on other operating systems. Let's say on
No,
Linux,
no, no.
Ubuntu,
By
or
default, no.
CentOS. Or,
No, 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 no. By default, the binary that you create on a Linux machine, it will not run on Windows. And if you compile on
no,
Windows,
no.
it.
Agreed, agreed. My question is,
Mhm,
like if I compile on Ubuntu, let's say, no
mhm,
matter what type of architecture the processor I have, okay,
Uh-huh.
So the same binary, can I run CentOS or any other flavor of
Yes,
Unix?
yes, 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 yes. That will be fine. Yes, 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 yes. Because the underlying kernel or the underlying OS is still Linux, right? Be it Ubuntu, be it Fedora, be it Red Hat, the underlying kernel is still Linux, right?
Okay.
You can cross compile on different Linux versions, but you cannot take a binary which is created on any of the Linux variants and run it on Windows. For that, you need cross compilation. Maybe we'll talk about it in the coming sessions. And you have two variables that are there in Golang, which are Go OS and Go architecture. So what I can do is using these two, environment variables here, I can create an executable binary maybe on the Linux machine, and I can create a binary that can run on Windows as well.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay. Great.
good so far. I will switch to the second program then.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So in the first program we talked about packages a lot. Maybe now I will discuss about packages, and I would also introduce one more functionality which is called Go modules. Uh, so just like we have maybe in Python we have a package manager which is called pip, and in Node we have a package manager which is called npm. I hope you are aware about any of these at least.
Yes.
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 So just like we have npm for Node, we have pip for Python, we have Go modules as the dependency manager tool or the package manager tool for Golang. So what happens is, uh, whenever you write a Go project, you would either write it for your internal usage, or you would write it for other people to use. So what you let's assume the second case where I'm writing a Go application for so that other people can import and other people can use my application or the module that I'm writing. So module is firstly a combination of Golang packages. So if I talk about the hierarchy here, X carry draw, maybe I'll go to the end. Yeah, at the bottom of the tree, you have your main files. You have your Go files. One second, let me change the cursor here. Yeah, if I talk about the hierarchy, at the bottom you have your Go files. This is in the end of the hierarchy, I would say. You club maybe two or more Go files into a package. So this can be let's say my package 1, and this can be your package 2, and at the end the root wrapper of everything is a Go module. Yes. So multiple Go files may be clubbed into one single entity, which is a package, and then multiple packages are clubbed into an entity which is called a Go module. Yes. Okay. In order to
Okay.
create a Go module, you do is you do a Go mod init followed by the Go module path. So this Go module path is usually a link or a path to a public source repository. So most of the packages that you would see in Golang, they will be starting with GitHub. I'm not saying that this is applicable to all of them, but most of the packages will have a prefix which is starting with github.com, because GitHub being the most popular source code repositories. So this path here would be your git repo path where you are planning to put your Go project that you are right now creating. Good so far?
So far, so
Mm-hmm. Okay. The moment I execute the go mod init command and I give it the repo path here, it initializes my project and it automatically creates a go mod file The first statement in a Go mod file is basically my module path or my repo path where my entire source code will live. And the Go mod file is a special file which has all dependencies or all packages that my current project is going to refer. So whatever packages that are already there in the SDK, we do not need a special entry created in the Go mod file for it. But let's say there is a package which is written by some other company which is not there in the SDK. So my code will need, let's say my code requires that package. I will have to explicitly download that package, put an entry for that package in my Go mod file. My Go modules tool that we talked about, it is going to automatically do it. We do not have to do it manually, but still I will have to execute a couple of commands like maybe go get, which is let's say github.com slash gorilla slash mux. So let's say this is one library, or this is one reusable Go module that is already available on the public internet, and I want to use this package or this module in my application that I am writing. So there is a special command that I will need to do, which is go get to download that package. And the moment I maybe start using it in my code, one second, let's try doing it. Gorilla slash mux dot, yeah, and I switch back to my, and I do go mod id. One second, not an expression, one second, mux dot new, it is probably not github.com slash mux. We just give it a minute to, I think it's indexing the package that I tried downloading.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I think it's there.
Here we have
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
go get we say right. Normally in Rust we have cargo, right? The same concept.
Um, I'm not very much sure about Rust. Cannot, no, cannot really. But it is same as what we have like pip in Python and node
Python. Okay.
in I mean npm in node. It's same
Yeah,
as
NPM
that.
node.
Yes. So in order to
Node
get a,
package
yeah,
manager. Yeah.
in order to get a package from the internet, what we do is we do a go get and give the module name that we need. And of course we do not have to do anything special for it. One second, am I using the path correctly here? One second. Okay, let me do one thing. Maybe I'll talk about this in the next session. I'll just check why the indexing is not working here for me. And maybe
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
talk about it in the next session. But for
No
now,
issues.
yeah, Go module is a combination of Go packages. The Go module path that you give in your Go mod file, this is basically the path where your code will reside, and this is normally a source code repository where your code will live. Then there are different versions of Golang available in the market. This statement of this line that you are seeing here in the Go mod file, this indicates the minimum Go version that your project needs. Yeah. So saying that Go space 1.17, this implies that my minimum Go version that is needed for this project is Go 17. Also, Go mod is a special file that there you know you did not there's no need for you to manually edit it or manage it. But of course the commands that you execute, which are given to us by the go modules tool, which includes go get or maybe go mod tidy, or there are a couple of commands, we'll talk about it in the next sessions maybe. This automatically manages the go mod file for us. There is no manual changes that we need to the go mod file. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I will again
So the,
switch.
the automatically it took from the software. I mean the Go version, right?
Correct,
The Go
correct.
version.
In VS
Correct.
Code, the time when I created this project, the Go version extension that I was using is 1.17. So that is why by default it took the version as 70. So it usually will be the same version of Go that you have on your machine installed. It would probably be the same version here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what if I want to maintain modules locally,
Uh,
rather putting it on GitHub?
you can do
In
it.
that case, how I will
Yes, yes, you can do it. Yes, you can do it. There's no restriction that you always have to put it for public usage. So what happens is, uh, I can still, but there will be let's say if you are writing a Go project, you would at least bare minimum you would want to distribute it to other people in your organization, right? The bare minimum thing that you do is you would want to distribute your Go module to other people not to the general public, but if you write a Go project or a Go module, you would at least distribute it to your local people in your organization, right?
right.
There is no restriction. The moment we define a project using Go modules, there's no restriction that you have to push it to a Git repository. You can still keep in your local and it will still work fine. I have not pushed this project to the GitHub repository, which is github.com ishan session 2. There's no GitHub repository which exists with this particular link. You can still continue to use it in local without pushing it to Git. But normally, what would happen is whenever you want to distribute your Go module to other people, not to the general public, maybe you would still do it via some source code repository, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So
And
the
tell me one thing, Ishan.
yeah,
Sorry here I'm cutting
no
you.
issues, no issues.
Say, let's say, for example, today I have imported, say, let's say, Gorilla Mux, okay,
Mm-hmm.
this particular library
Mm-hmm.
I imported
Mm-hmm.
and I completed the program, I made exe,
Mm-hmm.
it's working fine.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow, let's say that Gorilla Mux has been removed from the GitHub, let's say tomorrow.
Okay.
So, will that application work or it will stop working?
So what you do is the moment you compile a binary file, what it does is the final artifact that you get, it contains all the libraries, all the packages bundled into one single executable.
Dependencies.
Yeah,
Okay.
your executable that you built before the package was removed, the executable will still work fine. But let's say if you want to upgrade the gorilla mux version to, maybe let's say you were currently using 1.10 and you want to upgrade it to 1.12, so there is no way that you can update the package versions now. But yeah, uh, whatever compiled binary or executable that you created before the package was removed, it will still work fine, because all the dependencies are bundled into one single executable file. Yes. Okay. So again, if I talk about this particular program, we have a file called main.go, which is in the root of the project, and it has a package declaration which is called package main. Then we have import for FMT package and a strings package. I will talk about what this strings package we are using here for. I'll just come back to it. FMT is the same package which we used in our earlier program for input output. And next, if you notice here closely, we are trying to import two packages which we are not getting from the SDK. So these are two special packages, or these are two different packages that we have created. If you notice closely here in the project structure, this is our project session 2 packages. it has a main.go file in the root, which of course we are currently looking at, a go mod file which got created when we initialized our project to use go modules to manage dependencies. And then we have two folders here. One is the helper folder, or I should call it the helper package, which has a go file inside it. If I go to the helper package, this again being a go file, the first statement that it has is a package declaration. But if you notice here, the package is no longer main, this is helper package now, because this is an assist, or this is a reusable component, or this is not this package that we are creating here, this is just meant to assist the main package. This is not the entry point for the application. The entry point is still the package main, which is in the main.go, but this is just a package that we will be importing in maybe other packages or in main.go to provide assistance, or maybe to provide some functionality to the main package itself. This is not going to be an entry point for the application. So here the package name we are using is helper, and it is no longer main. Yes.
Yes, yes.
If I talk about the code that we have in this helper package, or in the helper.go file, we have a package which is helper, which makes this package non-executable and non-entry point. Then we have import for the strings package, which is again part of the Go SDK itself. So strings is a special package in Golang which has functionality, or which has functions uh, already created or already built, which you can use to carry out string operations. So think of one string operation, that let's say you want to convert a string from lowercase to uppercase. So this strings package which we are importing here at line number 3, we are this strings package has a function already defined which is called toUpper. It takes a string argument as an input, and it converts the input to upper cases. Yes. So in this particular file, we have package as helper, then we are importing the strings package. Then line number 5, we have defined a function which is called convert string to uppercase. It is taking a variable as input which is called input, and the type of the input argument is string here, because the plan is that this function we are creating at line 5, this will take a string input in lower cases and convert it to an uppercase string. And since we have to return the uppercase string, the return type that we have specified here in the function definition, this is also a string. Line number 6, what we are doing is we are from the strings package, we are using the toUpper function. We are passing our input value that we received to the function, which is convert string to uppercase, as an argument to the toUpper function, and the result we are returning from the main from the convert function that we created here. Yes. Any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Next,
Go ahead.
there are a few things I want you to ignore for a minute. I will just come back to this one in a minute, maybe. If I go back to main.go, so the package, while we initialized this project to use Go modules, the Go module path that we gave was github.com ishan session 2, and the package name that we gave was helper. So if I have to import my helper package in my main package, now what I have to do is I have to prefix it with the module path, which is github.com ishan session 2, which is same as what we have in the go mod file, which is followed by the folder name or the package name that we created here. Yes. Same is the case for another package that we have created here, which is inside the parent directory we have a child directory, then we have a subchild directory, and in the subchild directory we have a file called subchild.go. The package name that we have used here is subchild. It also has two variables created, both of string type. One is this one, and the second is this one. Yes. If I had to import my subchild.go package, the path that we are using here is again the same. The Go module path, I mean prefixed the Go module path. Then I follow the same directory structure which my package is available under. So we have the parent directory, then we have the child directory, then we have the subchild directory, and inside my subchild directory we have the package subchild, which is subchild.go. So when we import it, the import path that we use is this. Yes? Any questions?
No questions. Go ahead, please.
Okay. This nesting can go to any level. There is no restriction that there's a two level nesting that should happen, or three or four. There's no restriction on it as such. This nesting can go till any level that you want. Okay. uh, Main, as we already discussed, is a special function where the program execution begins, and this main function is in the main package or in the main.go file. Here what we are doing is we are creating, so this particular program that we have written here, this takes name of the employee as an input from the user, and it converts or prints the string in uppercase, the value that is given by the user. So we are creating a string variable. Of course we are not giving it any value. Then using the fmt.scanf function, we are taking the string value as an input from the user. We have already seen the scanf function in the previous program. Then we are printing the value of the variable which the user provided using the fmt.println function. Then what I am doing is at line number 28, if you notice closely, there is a function that we are calling, and to this function we are passing the employee name variable. Yes, but if you notice closely, we are not giving any package prefix here. And as discussed in the previous program, we looked at, if we do not prefix any package name before any identifier, it looks for that function or variable in the same package. If I control click on this function and if I navigate to the definition, it is defined in the same package or in the same file. It necessarily need not be in the same file, it could still be in another file, but the package should still be the same, because everything that is there in the same package can be thought of as one single entity. Yes.
Okay, clear. Yes.
This is the same function that we created in the helper package. It's like most likely it is, I mean, although we have one extra line in the function that we have in main, but this function is also doing the same functionality. Even the name is also same. It is using the strings package to upper function, and converting the value to an uppercase value and returning the uppercase string here. Yes. The important thing that I want you to notice here is we are not prefixing the package name here. So by default, when the Go compiler encounters an identifier which is not prefixed with a package name or anything, it looks for the definition in the same package. So for now, when you call this function at line number 28, it invokes a copy of the function which is defined in the same file in the same package at line number 52. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the return value for this function, we are storing it in another variable which is called value in uppercase. And line number 29, we are printing the value of the variable that we received from the function. We created one more function which has, of course, exactly the same name, does the same job, but the function is defined in the helper package. In order to call copy of the function which is there in the helper package, I have to prefix it with the helper keyword, which is my package name, the one that I am importing here already. Yes. So whenever I want to import a copy of the function which is there in the package, I have to prefix it with the package name.
The last name we have to take from the in the input, right?
Correct, 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 correct. And now
The
that you
last name.
asked
Okay.
it, maybe what you can do is, if let's say you want to the name is very difficult, and if you want to maybe give it a shorthand name, so you can also use a shorthand
Okay.
name.
Okay. Shorthand.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now what we are doing is we are assigned this particular package a shorthand here, which is H. So wherever I use the helper package, I just change the reference from helper to H. Yeah. Okay. Let me revert what we did. Okay. Line number 34, we are calling the convert string to uppercase function, which is from the helper package. We are storing the return value in the same variable, value in uppercase, and then we are printing the uppercase value. Yes, but this time the result will come from a function which is defined in the helper package. Now next is the most important thing that I want you to focus on. So when we were looking at the helper.go file, I told you that we have some variables that are created here. This is one variable which is called current year, but if you notice closely, this is created with an uppercase alphabet. The first alphabet is in capital, but here line number 12, the first alphabet is in small cases, or is a small alphabet. So the reason why I specifically mentioned about the uppercase and the lowercase is, whatever that you create in a so if I talk about the current year variable that we created at line number 10, it is defined in the helper package with a capital letter in the beginning. So whatever you create inside a package with a capital letter, other people who are importing this package will be able to access the variable. But whichever variable or whichever function that you create in a package which starts with a lowercase alphabet, other people importing this package will not be able to access this variable. If I go to my main.go and if I show you line number 39, here we are reading the current year variable which we created in our helper.go package, helper.go file, with a capital letter. And the compiler is not compiling anything about it, but if I try to access the variable which is created with a lower the lowercase letter, it is complaining that it cannot detect itself. But if I do a control space, it gives me the available option, and all available options are starting with the capital letter here, if you notice. Yes. So in Java we have the concept of public, private, default. So this is Golang's way of implementing abstraction. Whatever you want to.
Okay, so this one, which is in uppercase, the first character, that is public. Yeah,
Correct, correct, correct,
if
correct.
I'm
So we
not
just
wrong.
have two options now. Either we expose it outside the package, or we just keep it within the package. So
Oh,
whenever
okay.
you keep it within the package, you have to start it with a lowercase letter. Yeah.
Lowercase. Okay,
But
okay.
let's say if you still want to give your users an access to this variable, you can create a getter function. Of course, it has to be created with a capital letter only. If you created this getter also with a smaller letter, your programs will not be able to access it. Yeah. So the getter should also, this rule that we mentioned about, with, I mean, the beginning with the capital letter and a small letter, this applies to functions as well as variables both. Yes.
Okay.
So
All its
when,
member, package member, let's
yeah.
say method or
Mm-hmm.
structure or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Correct, correct. To every entity actually. Yes. Yeah. Here we are creating a function which is called get current month, returns a string, and inside the function we are returning the variable which is not exposed to the outside the package. Yeah. So my
Similar to
main.
like the access modifiers. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So this you can think of as my getter method. This is a getter method which we are written in the helper.go file, the helper package, which is returning a variable which is private to this package. Yes. In the main.go, if I want, I can also change the value of the current year. Let's say I can still modify the value of current year variable which is defined in the helper package, but doing it this way, now no way I can change the value of the variable which is private to the helper package, because the package is not exposing it outside itself. Yes. Yeah.
Yes,
If
yes.
I talk about the other package that we created here, the subchild package, this also has a variable which is variable from child package, and this is created with a capital letter. Although we have two variables here, the other one is with a smaller alphabet. If I even try to access it here, it gives me just one single option. Yes. Let me execute this code. I will take the shortcut. Maybe I'll just do go run main.go. It is waiting for me to provide the input. Maybe I will provide it an input. Let's say small case name as an input. Then it printed the uppercase value which we are doing here. So this uppercase value is getting derived with a function that we defined in the same package, which is this one, or within the same file. Then we are calling the convert to string to uppercase function from the helper package, and the output that you see here is from that. We are printing the current year variable which is defined in the helper package again. We are getting the value of the private variable from the helper package, and the variable from subchild package is getting displayed here. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Any questions so far? Good.
No, Ishan, it's crystal
Okay.
clear.
Okay. The last program for today is about iterations, or the loops that we have. So Golang doesn't have the concept of while loop or do while loop, just like we have in C, C++. You can mute your line, that's okay. Maybe I'll talk first and then you can. Yeah, so Golang doesn't have the concept of while or do while loop. There is just for loop that is available in Golang, and this is the syntax for a for loop. You give the initialization condition, then you give the test condition, then you give the increment or the decrement condition, and every condition there is a semicolon in between the conditions. So this is a for loop which initializes a counter to 0. The counter should be less than 5, and on every iteration it increments the value of the counter. For every execution of the for loop, we are printing the text from for loop and the index or the counter value as the output. uh, as I said, there is no while loop or do while loop in Golang available, but using the for loop itself, you can implement the while do while functionality. So here what we are doing is we have created a for loop with a counter which is called j, initialized it to a value of 0. We only have the test condition, we are not giving the increment condition here. The increment condition is absent here, and the increment condition we are put in the for loop body itself. Yeah, let me run this code. Let me see. Yeah, so if you see the output here, the first set of output that we have is from the first for loop here, and the second set of output that we have is the for loop which we added to mimic the behavior of the while loop.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.